Here I am in Parliament Square. You can probably hear the bongs behind me, that's Big Ben. So that is the seat of governmental power, the House of the Parliament, and I'll just swing around here. We have sort of the seat of ecclesiastical power, or one of them, which is Westminster Abbey. Well, today I'm going to talk about what the two of them actually represent, the two kingdoms. We have the kingdom of God, represented by the Abbey, and here behind me, the kingdom of man, represented by Parliament. And it's interesting, they're two kingdoms, and yet you can't really straddle them. You're either in one or the other. And those of us who are in the kingdom of God know that we're in the other world, but we're not of the world. And this is the thing, because many Christians are trying to do both. They're trying to straddle both kingdoms. They're sort of members of the kingdom of God, but they still want to be relevant in the kingdom of man, and that is where a problem will come, and has come, and will get worse. What do I mean? Well, two kingdoms. Now, those of you who may get Sword magazine, there's a fantastic editorial by David Andrew that I know took him weeks and weeks to write, and when it finally came to him, it just came to him in the flash. And he talked about these two kingdoms, and he was saying that there should be a gap between these two kingdoms, a big gap. There should be a discernible gap. In other words, those of us in the kingdom of God need to be discernibly different. We need to sort of rise above the other kingdom. We need the other kingdom to look at us and say, there's something different there. They're not just a protest group or a lobby group. They have something that we don't have, and we need to be of that mind. We need to have this gap between us and the kingdom of the world. And in David's editorial, the key thing is, what is the gap? Well, for him and for me, the gap is Jesus. Jesus is the gap, and what the church has tried to do is to bridge this gap, to make this gap smaller by redefining Jesus, making a Jesus that will compromise all the world, will be tolerant, that will just make them popular, so supposedly their voice can be heard. But I don't think that's true. I don't think our voice is going to be heard if we're just the same as any other voices out there. We need to be different. So we need to show the Jesus of the gaps, which means Jesus has to stay in the gap, and that gap has to be not a bridged gap. That should be a discernible gap, and we need to be showing the true Jesus. It's not going to make us very popular. Jesus said the world is going to hate you, and the thing is, I don't think the world does hate us enough. The world needs to hate us, and it will hate us if we stand up for the true Jesus, the Jesus of the gaps. Thank you for listening.